be careful over this next 2 weeks. We could see some volatility, see this market sell off again. If we see a bit of a pullback, you're going to see a lot of headlines like, well, Santa's not going to come to town this year, or whatever. You'll see a lot of those headlines. Historically speaking, we did have a negative December last year. It is very, very rare for Decembers to be negative 2 Decembers in a row. But that brings us what you need to know before the bell this morning. Yesterday, the markets did rally a little bit again. Had a nice little rally day yesterday. Sold off right at the end of the day, but nothing major. But again, just from a technical perspective, the markets are just doing kind of what markets do. Nothing really overly exciting here. We've just been, despite all of the concerns earlier that, we were, this big correction back in November and everybody was kind of freaking out. It's like, oh, it's the end of the AI trade. Got to get out of the markets. It's all going to crash. This was that correction right there, which was a total of about 5% from peak to trough. Not really anything major, but really just has turned out to be just a consolidation of the market following this very nice kind of rally we had ever since the April lows. So again, not surprising here that markets are just kind of consolidating gains a bit. It's not as exciting. That rally that we had from May, June, July, August, September, that was really exciting because markets just kind of went up every day. So nobody likes when you don't go anywhere. We're kind of just sitting in place. But that working off that consolidation worked off some of that overbought condition, that correction that we had back there. Kind of in November, worked off that previous overbought condition. So we've seen an improvement in relative strength that's been helping support this rally in the markets as of late. Markets are coming up to test right now. We're testing resistance at these previous highs. So, right around this level, we may see the market kind of struggle a bit. But if we can get a breakout above these highs that we had back going into November and then this high level that we have that we're challenging right now as of yesterday, that's going to give the market some more room to run into year end. So right now the setup still looks like going into year end that we're going to get kind of a rally. Now, having said that, the kind of the traditional Santa Claus Rally setup is certainly kind of in place at the moment. This kind of action that we're seeing momentarily, again, we're going through mutual fund distributions right now, would not be surprising that over the next week to week and a half, heading into kind of the Christmas holidays, that we see this market maybe pull back towards the 50-day moving average, which is sitting right there with the 20-day moving average. So a bit of a pullback here to that support level would not be surprising over the next few days, next week after. And then that sets you up kind of for the year-end rally and to close out the year. That's going to be the window dressing. That's going to be performance chasing. People, all the professional managers trying to get the right positions on their books for the end of the year. We're on a buy signal, which is also supportive of the markets right now, and that's coming up from a decently low level. So again, there's some impetus here for the markets to kind of work its way higher, but as we've talked about over the last couple of weeks, be careful over this next 2 weeks. We could see some volatility, see this market sell off again. If we see a bit of a pullback, you're going to see a lot of headlines like, well, Santa's not going to come to town this year, or whatever. You'll see a lot of those headlines. Historically speaking, we did have a negative December last year. It is very, very rare for Decembers to be negative 2 Decembers in a row. It is possible, it has happened like once or twice before, but it's a very rare outcome that you have 2 negative Decembers in a row. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but the odds are the way we're kind of setting up for the year end. After this recent correction that we had, that kind of refreshed the markets, that gave us a good buying opportunity. And again, where the market's kind of setting up right now, the odds are we're likely going to end higher as we get into the end of the year. Anyway, that's what you need to know before the bell this morning.